All right. Hey, good evening, you all. It's Jan. Here we are. It is, they can't see you yet, so not to worry. So here we are on Tuesday night, and you all know that we've been dealing with some technical issues because everyone's on Zoom. So sometimes I can do Zoom, Facebook Live, other times I cannot. And this is one of those times, and it's all good because we're going to adapt, improvise, and overcome because that's what we do. So I'm tagging people right now before we get into our conversation with my friend this evening. Boopy boo. All right. Hey, Renata. So I'm going to turn, there's a couple things I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. Okay, great. So yay, I'm here. So I'm going to turn the camera around and kind of do what I did last time. I think it was with Tomas, and there's my Linsey. Wave hi, Linsey. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. I don't know if Linsey can hear me. You can? Okay, yes I can. Good, yay. Okay. All right. Yeah, I finally figured out how to do this by not, like, I don't have to keep on turning the camera around, which makes me happy. Right, I can keep you right here. Everybody sees it. I know, so it looks like you're in your kitchen. Uh-oh, you're frozen again, Linsey. Hope you can hear me.
Somewhat. I'm in my brother's kitchen.
Oh, you're in your brother's kitchen. Great.
So, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Do you have your Wi-Fi on?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I do, but I'm in the sticks, so this is what I'm going to do. We're going to go on a walk.
Okay, good.
And in the process, you guys get to see some of Minnesota.
Oh boy.
That's going to get dark for a sec.
Okay, it can get dark for a sec. So
this is dark for 1 sec.
It's okay. So this is how we adapt, improvise, and overcome in the age of technology.
Exactly.
It's just what we do. Welcoming, come on in.
I know. This just gives everybody the time to log in.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, that's what we do, right? We have people, we give people time to log in, for sure. For sure.
All right, so we're gonna go out to the beautiful backyard.
Ooh, are you gonna have to put it? Are you gonna have?
Degrees.
Ooh, wow.
Right.
We like 68 degrees.
Here, we'll show everybody beauty of Minnesota.
That is beautiful, and hopefully.
So you guys can watch if the sunset doesn't get.
So it doesn't get too dark,
better?
right? Yeah. Oh, that's so much better. Yay. Good lighting, too. Okay. And you froze again. We have your finger. We're showing your finger. So much fun.
We're going to figure this out.
Okay, good. Hey, Joanna. Okay, I think we got it going, girl.
All right.
We get to see the beautiful Minnesota in the background along with your fabulous face.
Thank you. All the snow is melting, so
Good.
surviving.
Good, and we need your headset back on.
There we go. All right. We're all set.
Okay, good. Yay!
It's me. I figured we'd get there eventually.
Exactly, and I'm going to have you hold the mic up right to your face when you do talk, so
Okay.
people can hear you. Okay, and I'm going to turn up my volume so they can hear you as well. Okay, all right. Hey, Angel, one of our new mission ambassadors who's a nurse.
Awesome.
Is on. I know, it's super great. Okay, so we're going to debunk some more myths tonight, and you know. I'm going to leave to you, Linsey. Linsey and I have been on the front lines together for 4 years. And Linsey was, I know, Linsey was one of my Tallahassee travel buddies. Hey, Jess, I'm really happy you're on. We have a couple more people on that are very much on the front lines as well. Hey, Walter, thanks for being on. And so Linsey and I have been, in this battle for several years together. She went to Tallahassee with me, up when we went to, get the hotel bill passed. She also worked with us on getting the education bill passed. And then sadly, she moved. And now she's up in the beautiful state of Minnesota, right? And
so you keep pausing, so you talk, and I'll try and catch up. It's the states between us. That's what the problem is.
That's what it is. See, you just need to come back home. That's all I got to say. Oh. So I'm going to have you share just a little bit, your background, and then we'll get into debunking these myths tonight, okay?
Perfect. So I am actually back home in Minnesota where my story started. I was trafficked by my ex-husband for 7 years, and through that time, I lived a normal life during the day. Nobody had any clue of anything that was going on with me. Any of the turmoil, the abuse, the trafficking, all of it was very much hidden. And then he tried to kill me, and I ended up lying for him, and we left for Florida, and I was down there for 12, 13 years, because I had 2 kids from that. And it took me a long time to figure out what had happened to me. It took actually leaving and then a lot of processing and healing before I could acknowledge what had happened to me, the trafficking part of it. And at the time, there wasn't any labels of human trafficking, like well-known labels. So I just assumed it was abuse or other things like that. So after I left and had been out for almost 8 years, I started my own nonprofit where we go and teach victims of human trafficking how to sew, because that's what I had used for my own personal therapy, because counseling didn't work for me, which I think sometimes is a myth that we have, believing that counselors are going to fix everything, because there's so many different things that happen to people. There's a lot of different ways that we have to process how to heal.
Right.
And then
she's frozen. We're going to see if she comes back. I'm praying.
I had just started up my organization when
Hey, Linsey, if you can hear me, Linsey, I'm going to have you go off video, because sometimes that decreases the bandwidth, and I hate that I won't be able to see you, but I want to be able to hear you,
That is okay. Yeah, no, I get it. So let me turn this sideways and see if I can.
Okay, good. Good.
Figure out how to do that. 1 second here.
Yeah, bottom left-hand corner. There we go. Okay, now you're just going to see me, but you're going to hear her. Uh-oh. She hung up. Wait, she's back. There you go. Okay, good. Yay, Linsey. Yeah, you just keep talking.
Okay. So where did I leave?
That you started your own nonprofit to sew, because you were teaching people how to sew.
Wow, the devil really just does not want this to happen.
No, he doesn't.
So, all right, can you hear me better now?
I can.
Okay. So where did I leave off?
You left off that you taught survivors how to sew, because therapy didn't really work for you, and sometimes this is a different kind of therapy that makes a difference for people. Is doing sewing and crafts and beading and working through their trauma a different way.
Right. Yes, and it became a passion because I saw how I was able to heal, and I wanted to give others that option because there's just so much to process,
Right.
And sessions don't always just work. So once I had started it, there was just kind of a tugging inside of me that I needed to do this, but I needed to be someplace else. And I would talk to people when I would come back to Minnesota, and they're just very unaware.
Right.
A lot of small towns up here, a lot of these kids that have this ideal, even in the church that we currently go to now, it's still, I would have to say they're 5-10 years behind on the knowledge that they have, even though there's so much out there.
Yeah.
So with a pulling in my heart and knowing this is where it happened for me, I just kind of went with a leap of faith, and God was good, and He allowed us to not only get up here, but get a lot of personal things worked out, and a lot of things that connected me to my ex, who was also my trafficker. And so we've been up here for a year, starting to kind of dig in and get stuff done up here in Minnesota.
Right. Because the message needs to be heard everywhere that human trafficking is real, and we've debunked a bunch of myths up to date, and we're gonna tackle some in the realm of survivors, victims, warriors, recovery, rescue. All the words that people use, and I think you were the one that really helped me see. It's like, look. No one rescued me. I chose to rescue myself. And I thought that was one of the most powerful things that you'd ever shared with me. And it had me see what was happening in a whole new light.
Oh, absolutely. I think, watching it from outsiders, from talking with my parents and friends who are around in my life, they use those terms. We wanted to save you.
Yep.
We wanted to rescue you. And I personally had to choose it for myself.
Yeah.
There was a lot of time that I probably could have, just left or run with my kids or all these other things. But mentally, I was not in that place yet.
Yeah.
And that's a really big thing that when I talk with people is let them know you're not going to be the one that's going to jump in and save them. You can be that person there when they're ready and they've left to help. But it has to be an eye-opening, I don't want to say an event, because it's not always an event. It's sometimes just either psychologically, emotionally, and sometimes there are events that get us to that point. Personally, for me, it was my daughter.
Right.
I had a breakaway to go back home to visit my mom for her birthday, and I drove the entire way straight through, and it was about halfway through, my little girl from the back just asked me out of the blue what courage was. And it hit at some point, I'm going to have to face my kids and explain this life. And I was embarrassed. I was afraid of how they would see me. Like, all of the emotions come out, and you just go, I can't do this anymore. Like, it's a shift. It's almost an immediate shift. Even though all the stuff doesn't go right away, it's that moment of clarity where you can start to get down that path.
Yeah. Exactly.
And make those changes to get out of it.
Yeah, I just want to let you know, there's a bunch of, Erin is on, Allie is on, my friend Lisa is on, Shelly is on, You know, Renata from Seminole County, she's on. Barbara's on. My friend
Yes.
Chrissy, I'm just shouting out to people that are watching us right now. Susan's on. Lil, hey Lil, David Torres, Jim Birschbach, Jerry Lilly, Ray Jr. Thank you all so much for watching and listening, actually, because we're listening to Linsey. She lives in the middle of the sticks. And so we're adapting, improvising, and overcoming how we can get this information out. So just thanks for bearing with us, and thanks for being with us. One of the myths that that you touched upon, but I really we'll start with, people all the time, well, why don't they just leave? Can't victims leave any time? Don't they just know this is wrong or bad? Or why would they tolerate that? Can't they just leave? Let's debunk the victims can leave at any time myth.
Oh, yeah. Where to start? Sure. We physically probably could leave. I think there's a mental picture of chains, movie type things that we see in our head,
right,
that we've been shown. But the reality is the king is within us. It's a mental game that if people haven't heard the word grooming, it's something to educate yourself on, because that's what it is. It's a teaching process that changes your mind, rewires how you think, so that you personally cannot leave. There's so many things that go along with it. There's shame. There's fear. There's the question of where the heck will I go? All of these unknowns of what is your life like.
Yeah, well,
after that.
Yeah, like what would have you?
How to function anymore?
Yeah, like what would have you stay is you don't know where you can go. Right? Yeah, that would be where am I going to go? Yeah.
There's, what money are you going to get? Where can I go? Even if you think that you can go home, now you are embarrassed to go home. What are they going to think of me? What kind of a stigma is going to be carried around with me? Fear of what the person is going to do to you.
Right.
In my case, it was to my kids, and the separation that was being caused between my family. So physically, yes. Mentally, no. And I think that's a hard part for people to understand when they are doing outreaches or things like that. Even though people can sometimes self-identify, it doesn't mean that they're prepared to leave yet. They're not ready because they can't release themselves from that cage that they are in.
Right. The literal cage, not figurative. Because that's one of the other myths too, is that victims are chained and kept in bondage and tied up, and yes, that does happen, and that's not really the norm, is it?
No, it's not the norm. Abuse is a very common thing that happens, but it's not the kind of abuse where you're tied up, where you're not allowed to leave or things like that. I mean, especially in the world of technology, there's a lot more ways that they can find you than just keeping you locked up in a room.
Right.
And I think that's one of the reasons why, one of the many reasons, but that it is kind of blown up the way that it has, is because it can be hidden in plain sight through the technology that we have, and the naivety of it could never happen to me and it could never happen to my kids. It can't touch me because I know well enough.
Right.
And once they're in the grooming process, you don't realize you're in the grooming process. So that's one of those gateways that leads you into right back around to the same thing of being trapped.
Right, because it's subtle and over time that the grooming process happens, right?
Absolutely. It was like a 6 to 8 month period for
6 to 8 months that, yeah, over time that he was grooming
and
you.
it's, my situation is, we're in this relationship, we're not in this relationship, the mind games that they play. There's other types of pimps or traffickers out there, and that's just one of the many.
Yeah, so I want you, I don't want you, the push me, pull you. You know, you want what you can't have, so they treat you great, and then they push you away, which has you want them more.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah? Yep. And what did I do wrong? What can I do to make him happy? Oh, well, just a little bit more of, the mind game. Well, then the mind game turns into, I want you to do this for me. And now they've got you doing things for them. Well, now I want you to do things to other people. And it's a long and slow process that you don't realize is happening to you until you're in it. Because up until that point, you can justify it.
Right. Hey, your girl Savannah just joined us.
Hey, lady.
I'm sorry, Savannah, because, she is in the middle of nowhere. Internet connection kind of sucks, so I'll ask her probably to come back on a little later with her face, but right now this is important conversation and we want to hear what she has to say, and sometimes doing video decreases the bandwidth. So that's why you're just seeing her name. Sadly, because we miss our Linsey. So the other myth I want to debunk is it only happens in private, right? Like this whole hidden, it only happens in certain, realms. So let's debunk that myth. It only happens in private.
Yeah. Well, that happens in private, and also it only happens in certain areas, like low income or things like that.
Right.
It's happening everywhere. I owned a business during the day and had this happen to me at night. There are certain situations where they want to term it as, swingers or open relationships. And there's always that other side to it, and I think that's part of the game that gets played. Because you'll go to things like Sturgis, or you'll go to, the beaches or the big events or the spring breaks and things like that, because I think in our minds sometimes our idea is of it being older people, but more and more it's the younger and the younger, so you're going to see it more publicly displayed in very... There's a word I'm trying to find, but I can't find it. But basically, it's really sketchy situations.
Right.
Where if you're watching for it, you'd see it. But if you're not watching for it, oh, it's spring break. Everybody's doing it. Oh, here's a bunch of, just drinking. Oh, so-and-so, gets you drunk on something. And now 5 people are there and they all have pictures. And now the next thing you know, you're everywhere. And there's your shame. That's what gets you locked into it. So... it's your neighbor. It's the kids in your school. It's more visible than you think. You just have to know what you're really looking for. And I don't think up until, these last few years, people are actually looking for it.
Yeah.
We wanted to pretend like it didn't exist.
Yep. So there was one of the things that you shared with us, when you would come back to the hotel, clearly... not in your right mind, and nobody said anything, nobody checked in on you. So what are some things that people can look for? Because look, we're not going to be sheltered at home for the rest of the year. At some point in time, we will be out and about. And, I had Connie and Tomas on a couple of nights ago, and we were talking about, there will be a huge influx of survivors that are wanting to get out after this. And so, so what are some of the things that we need to look for that you wish someone would have said to you? So we, at least could have let you know, hey, I see you, I'm not going to quote, quote, rescue you or save you, but now I know, I know, and I'm here for you.
Right. So the situation you're talking about was right before I'd gotten moved down to Florida. We had to live in a hotel for a few months. And even though we were in the hotel, he still kept sending me out. And I was not capable of doing anything soberly. And so you'd see me during the day with my kids in just regular mom clothes, but the evenings would come and I would leave in something completely different. Not of sound.
So your attire would be different. What else?
Mind. And most of the time, my demeanor would be different. I would go from very outgoing and chatty. Hi, why are you these are my kids, whatever. And then I would get very closed off. I wouldn't look at anybody. I wouldn't talk to anybody unless I knew them. It was like two different people. It was night and day. And if, my mom had to remind me I wasn't allowed to wear nail polish because it bothered him so much. And it was such a weird and strange thing that you would think, oh, it's not a big deal. But considering how I was before I met him, and then when I was with him, everything changed about me and how I behaved and I acted. When I would go and visit people, you'd be getting calls constantly. Where are you? What are you doing? If you notice somebody who's, up until a certain point been fairly independent and all of a sudden has somebody calling in on them, checking where are you, when are you going to be back, what are you doing? And without having that freedom anymore, that is a really big red flag.
So like the quote, quote, overprotective boyfriend kind of thing?
Yes.
Got it.
Yep. Just making sure you're okay and just making sure you got there okay. Well, we talked 10 minutes ago and I'm still in the same place. It's subtle.
Right.
Because, they could chalk it up to, I just care about you. Because a lot of the times, not all the time, but in my particular situation, I didn't have a very good relationship with my parents. So it was easy to chalk it up to, I'm just making sure that you're okay with your family.
Right.
Well, I'd never not been okay with my family before, but in my mind, I was like, oh, yeah, maybe I'm not okay with her. Maybe I should go back. Oh, yeah, I gotta leave. And so, I wouldn't stay anywhere longer than an hour. A lot of the times people will say they all of a sudden get something that they never had before, very expensive. They're getting, new clothes or new phones. And that is really true. I was 21 when I got my first cell phone, and there were rules on who I could call, who I could have in my phone, how long I could be on the phone, watching everything and the timelines of when I was on the phone with certain people, and it was privileged. I wasn't allowed any other phone lines. And, it is a real thing when they say, look for those people that had nothing, didn't have a lot of money, or normally wouldn't be purchasing certain things.
Right.
And now all of a sudden they have it.
Right.
It's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
So
well, and there's a way to ask that question that would not be, where'd you get that phone? Which has people close off. It's like, oh, wow, that's a nice phone. Is that, you can start off subtly asking those questions. Now, here's the last myth I really want you to debunk. And it's, it's the one that people just, they don't understand why victims don't ask for help, specifically when they're out in public. If they're at the Wawa or 7-Eleven getting a soda with their trafficker, or when they're walking from, they're out on the street walking from point A to point B, why they don't, run up to a police officer. Why is it that victims don't ask for help?
There's a lot of reasons.
Yep.
A lot of the times it's because we don't think that we know enough.
Ooh, hang on.
Motorcycles. It's a lovely day today. Everybody's out.
Good.
If we can't help ourselves, how is somebody else going to help us? How are you going to save me if I can't save myself?
Yep.
But also, what are you going to do? Are you going to be tougher than this person who has been so hard on me that I can't get away from? A lot of the times it's fear of abuse because they can eventually find you. And so what are they going to do to you if they do find you?
Yep.
But it's also self-worth. What good am I going to be to anybody else? Why should I get out of this?
Right. Well,
Like this is the best I'm ever going to be.
yeah, because they continually tell you you're worthless. I'm the only one, right, that will ever love you or care about you, blah, blah, blah. So you have to stay with me. And when someone hears that over and over and over again for years, then the mind starts to believe it because they have no access to anything else.
No. And to tell you the truth, it never goes away. I think that's something that people don't understand is this is not something that tomorrow I get to wake up from.
Right.
And it's gone.
Right.
There's still times that I probably drive my family crazy where I just go, well, what good am I? Like, what's my purpose? What should I be doing? It sits within you, and it's that rewiring of your mind that is a lifelong problem. Not a problem. It's a lifelong thing that just has now become part of who you are.
Right.
So my caution to people would be is there's the other side of where you work, Jan, and educating people is, as parents, our words have power.
Yes, they
and
do.
if we're not filling our children up to feel worthy enough, they're going to go out there and they're going to look for it from somebody else. And they don't really care who it is because there's just this need inside of them that they have to find it, they have to get it because there's an emptiness inside of them. And that person who can get to that point is going to be that person that can.
Yep. Yeah, it's not, it's, one of our friends says they have people in their life like, well, why don't you just get over it? There's no getting over being trafficked.
And take over that mindset.
Yeah, there's no getting over. It's a neuronal pattern that has been altered.
Right.
And it takes time, and it takes love, and it takes tender care and nurturing. And still, even then, there's those days, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you go, this is not something that I had known. And I think actually, Jen, it was you who brought it to my attention that said, at the age that these things happen is kind of where they stop growing. That's like the mentality that they have is in that age. So there are times where, I'm a mom and I'm a great mom and I'm 37 years old and I've got my stuff together, and within a heartbeat, I'm like an 18-year-old little girl, confused, trying to figure things out, completely lost. And it's that half of my brain that kind of is that hiccup that we fall back on.
Right.
When we're feeling intimidated or scared, we innately go back to that safe place before it all happens.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're going to try something, Linsey. I'm going to have you put on your video so we can see your face for any last words of encouragement. There we go. Yay! There you are.
Hello.
Yeah, so we're mainly, this whole debunking myths is to give parents some tools to have conversations with their kids. I want to acknowledge Jenna, who joined us, and Rick and Christine. Perry joined us. Renata shared, it's a lifelong challenge. So I just, what are some, just some tips or something you want to leave with parents that will empower them to be able to have this conversation with their kids?
The thing that I wish I could tell my parents now is it's okay to be a parent. It's okay to tell me no. It's okay to set boundaries for me because I needed those boundaries. I needed to be safe because I was incapable of being in that place. And don't give up. Seeing it from another side now as a parent, your kids love you. They're screaming for you to give them guidance and direction. You don't have to be really hard about it, but talk to your kids. They're willing to listen if you're willing to listen. And that's a really big thing. Sometimes you just have to be quiet and say, all right, do you need a friend? Do you need a parent? You need a friend? Okay, I'm going to listen to you. But you have to listen without judgment. You just have to listen. Later you can go back and do those things, but sometimes they just need an ear. Sometimes they need to tell you about the stupid stuff that they did and not have you come down on them and just say, I'm really sorry, and give them a hug. And then that be it. You can go be the parent later. That's a really big thing. And for parents who have kids who you think are in a situation or are and have come out of it, don't give up on them. Push through it with them because it's really hard. It's changed them forever. And you are their safe place now. And, you're going to go through some really hard times. It's going to be their whole life of it. But if they know that you're there and you're not judging them for all of these things, it will make a world of difference. And that's what I would tell my 18-year-old self anyways.
Yeah, Linsey, God, I miss you madly. I'm going to say that much. I miss you madly, and I know our other friends do too. And, now that, because you're a parent, you're a parent, and you can look back and go, okay, I get it. I now get what my parents were really trying to create. And I love what you said about be a parent. It's, that's what our kids need from us. It's, I used to tell my daughter, I said, I'm the bumpers in the bowling game of life. That's my job. That's my job. And I was sharing with another friend of mine, my current housemate, I said, the thing that that really made a difference for my daughter when she was older, like when we could have real conversations. And, I think probably age 9, 10, you could probably do this, but it's, are you venting? Do you need me to agree with you, or are we solving a problem? Because if you're just venting, I'm not going to jump in and try and fix it as a parent, right? Because sometimes, back to your point, they just want to be heard. Other times they felt wronged, and they just want you to agree that they were wronged, whatever that is. And that makes such a huge difference, because then they have the experience that you're on their side.
Right.
And then are we solving a problem? Most of the time, my daughter would be, I'm just venting, not a problem. And then somewhere 3/4 of the way through would be like, oh, but there's this one part I could use your insight on. Okay. But it gave her a space to just share and to be heard, and so important, not judged. We don't want to.
That's the biggest thing. Because, let's be honest, we have all made mistakes.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Right? We certainly have.
We've all made mistakes. We have all screwed up. So, there's the biblical term of, the speck in someone else's eye and the plank in yours.
Yes.
And so now I will start to tell my children, your seams are showing.
Your seams are showing. That's so great.
Yeah. So it's like, come on, I get that you want to help in this area, but you got dressed inside out and backwards today. So once you get yourself straight, then you can go out and do somebody else's chest.
Yep, your seams are showing. Really great. Well, we started a few minutes late because we had technical difficulties, as you know, as what happens sometimes when we are out to make a difference in this space. And Linsey, just thank you so much for sharing your heart and your wisdom today with everyone. And I miss you madly and love you deeply. And please give your whole family a big hug from me and from all of us. And thanks for doing the work you're doing up there.
Well, thank you. I do. I miss you guys a great deal. But the little ones actually said today, "Oh, I miss Miss Jan."
Aww.
I know. I miss Miss Jan too. Yeah. So it's bittersweet. You know, it's good to be home, but I don't think I ever would have grown the way I would have if I had had some of the amazing people that, you know, helped me to rise up during a really difficult time.
Well,
so,
you know what? I'll be in your state one day. Don't you worry. I'll be there, and we'll be out educating together. We just need this Corona thing to go away. It's got to go.
Right? I know.
It's just got to
I
go.
know.
It's got to go.
I've had enough of it. I have had my me time.
Yes.
I'm done.
Exactly. Exactly. So for anybody on the thread tonight, or if you think you know anyone that might be experiencing human trafficking, I'm going to put the hotline number in here. I do every time, and while I'm putting it in the thread, do you want to share the hotline number, Linsey?
Jan, you should know by now. I have a horrible memory. And if I turn my phone to go look in my phone,
I'll do it
right now.
I'll do it. 888.
Get your phone out.
888-3737-888. You put that number in your phone, and anytime you see something, you do something. You pick up that phone and you make a call. Because every single survivor warrior that we've talked to wishes someone had done that. And you could be that one. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's all anonymous. One phone call can actually save a life.
Yes. Yep.
All right.
It's a simple thing.
It is. All right, darling. Well, thank you so much. I love you madly. Hugs to your family, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Yes.